Okay, so we're on the backside of day 5 notes, and we have to talk about something we're going to see a lot called a segment bisector. Although you'll mostly see the word bisects. But a segment bisector is any line, ray, or segment that intersects a segment at its midpoint. And because it's intersecting it at its midpoint, it's going to cut the segment into two equal parts or two equal segments. So bisect means to cut in half, and halves are equal. So we have to be very careful about what segment is being cut in half when they tell it to us. And there are 3 cases below, number 5, 6, and 7, and we have to make sure we know the difference. So in the first one, it says that CD bisects AB at E. CD bisects AB. CD cuts AB in half is basically what you need to read that as. So if CD is cutting AB in half or bisecting AB, it's AB that's being cut in half, not so much CD. So all we're going to do is we're going to look for segment AB. Does everybody see it's 2 halves? We have 1 half here from A to E, and then the second half from E to B. And because those are halves, halves are equal. And so we could go ahead and put congruent little tick marks on them. We can also make a congruent statement that says segment AE is congruent to segment EB. And that's the conclusion that we make from what we were given. Okay? And we're going to start seeing that a lot. This is going to start being a given, and we have to come up with a conclusion. We have to get something from it. They never told us AE was congruent to EB. It was kind of like in disguise. And so we came up with that on our own. So the same thing's going to happen in the next one, and you're going to see it's just slightly different. If AB bisects CD at E, AB bisects CD, AB cuts CD in half is how we have to read it. And so if AB is cutting CD in half, it's CD that is being cut in half. So when we go and find CD, half of it is from CE, and the other half is ED. And so these two halves are equal. And we can get another congruent statement that says CE is congruent to ED. And so that's our conclusion from what we were given. Okay? Notice it's a different concluding statement than up above because it was a different segment being cut in half. So we have one more case, and this one reads a slightly different. And it says that if CD and AB bisect each other, CD and AB bisect each other. Well, how we need to read that is that CD and AB are cutting each other in half. So now who gets cut in half? Both of them. They're cutting each other in half. And so if AB is being cut in half, we can locate it and tick mark its one half, tick mark its other half, and state the two halves that are equal. One segment that's equal is AE. It'll be congruent to the other segment that is marked, which is EB. Okay. However, if both of them are being cut in half and we locate the other one as well and mark its two halves, we don't want to use single tick marks because then we're going to think all 4 pieces are equal and we don't know that they started off equal. So what we do is that we put 2 tick marks and 2 tick marks so we know that these 2 pieces with double tick marks go together, and we can get another congruent statement that says CE is congruent to ED. And so the only way we get both congruent statements is if it says bisect each other. That means both of them are being cut in half, and therefore we get 2 sets of equal pieces. Okay, so we really need to know those cases. And we have one more question down here to go and do. And it says, rate in the given that BD bisects AC. So who's being cut in half? BD cuts in half AC. It's AC being cut in half. So when we go find A to C, there's the B in the middle. This piece here is equal to this piece here. And now we can go and answer the questions. Part A says mark the diagram according to the given. We did that. We put tick marks on there. Part B says name the midpoint. Well, midpoints are always found in between two equal or two tick mark segments. Therefore, B must be in the middle if this distance here is the same as this distance here. So B is our midpoint. Name two congruent segments. Well, the congruent segments have the tick marks on them. And we tick marked segment AB, and our second tick mark was on segment BC. Okay. Part D says name a line. When I hear a line, I always think arrows, and I see a line with arrows. And you could pick any two letters on there. You could pick AC, you could pick CA, you could pick BC, you could pick CB, BA. It does not matter. I usually pick the beginning one and the end one. And because they said a line, I put my line symbol over my two letters. And that's it. All right. We'll see you on day 6 notes.